Last time on Let's Stitch. Make yourself a potato. These are the eyes of a god. No, it's all tangled. No! It is time for soup. Don't turn away from me, Martha. Martha? Monkey! Hey gang, welcome back to Let's Stitch. This is the thrilling season finale of making Animal Crossing player characters. We're gonna design some clothes in this video, so let's jump straight in. We're gonna make a cute little dress. I'm cutting up a white t-shirt based on the sweet dress. I think this is supposed to have little wings on the back, but we aren't gonna worry about that today. Let's just cut a general dress shape out of here, and we'll map out a pattern by tracing the outline of the body. It's got a top and a bottom to it, so I've just drawn the top half, and I didn't realize I was drawing on two separate. So we draw out a top half, and then the bottom skirt part, and these pieces on top are for the little princess sleeves. We want to cut a shape a bit bigger than our pattern so that we have some seam allowance for sewing. All of these pieces are doubled up, so each one needs 4 pieces in total. And for sake of brevity, we're gonna bust out our sewing machine out of the old garage. So we're taking 2 pieces with the good sides facing each other and sewing them together. When we flip the sewn up pieces, the seams will be on the inside, which, you know, is the ideal scenario. Then we can sew our top and bottom together. Looky, see, we got 2 identical parts, a front and a back. Now, I have to apologize because I sewed some wavy edges on the bottom of the dress and I don't have any footage of that. It's probably because I did a really bad job at it, and you shouldn't watch my channel. Let's add some fullness to the skirt by throwing in some tulle and bustle. I just bought a tutu and cut a strip off the bottom. To hold it all together, we'll just zip that through the sewing machine, and once it's done up, we'll use a running stitch to cinch the tulle up. Make it nice and fluffy. Now, a little problem we run into when cutting this material up is that it might fray and fall apart, and then we'll cry. So I picked up this nifty bottle of liquid sealant called Fray Check. I'm kind of assuming that it's don't put in eye. I guess that's because it looks like eye drops. Oh god, that would be awful. Have to set up a GoFundMe after accidentally putting Fray Check in my eye. Anyway, I'm guessing this is just like watered down super glue. I don't know, we'll see. Half an hour to dry. Alright, I guess I'm gonna take an intermission, 5 minutes into the video. So, I'll see you later. I have to say, Fray Check did its job. That was pretty neat. So with that together, we can stitch the dress over top. I don't have the intention of ever changing the clothes, so fitting stuff on it is actually a bit easier. We can ladder stitch one side onto the body, and then ladder stitch the other side. Something to watch out for is the lower portion of the dress isn't attached to any body parts, so the stitches have to be straight and even, or else the tension of the thread is going to make the whole seam look awful. For the puffy princess sleeves, we're going to cheat a bit. After sewing them up, we'll leave a hole on one side to stuff it and get it rounded. Sewing on a t-shirt scrap is going to act as the cuff of the sleeve. See how we ladder stitch that on there? Then we'll ladder stitch the Then we'll ladder stitch the poof right over the top. something that's been bothering me is, I don't like that. But it's a pretty easy cover up. So let's get some more white t-shirt. We'll cut a circle out of there. And all we need to do is cut the circle in half a bit from either side so we can wrap it around the legs and stitch it onto the body. We can do like we did with the sleeves and stitch some little shorts onto the legs, like so. This dress came out really nice, but I want a little pop of color, so let's move on to shoes. Again, we're going to grab some t-shirt. I make a lot of things from socks, but for doll clothing, I like the softness of a t-shirt. The higher thread count is also a bonus. So check this out. I was able to take one piece of orange shirt and shape it into a shoe. Or it's like a slipper, I guess, really, at this point. I just need one tack on the center of the shoes to keep the top held on, and we can cover that up in a minute. Let's map out a pattern for the soles of the shoes. The life of any soul rests in the shoe. Haha! Man, that's so bad. Anyway, let's put these through our sewing machine. I get a little tired of trying to capture two different angles, so I'm just gonna one-shot this bad boy. Thread down. Oop. That turned out a lot better than I thought, actually. I mean, for just messing around, that's pretty good. Stitch these to the bottom of the feet. We got some little seashells to make as toppers to the shoes, so we're going to make these half circle shapes. To achieve those scallop ridges, we just need to pass the thread back and forth through the shell. Kind of like how when you buy a doll in a store, their hands are just one piece separated by some thread. This is that same concept. I never liked that as a kid, though. It's really not hard to make separate fingers. But with mass production, you know, it's just more effective, I guess. So this, I think, is a pretty nice outfit. And it wasn't very hard to do. Now, what about making a pair of pants? Well, you listen here. Pants? They ain't hard. I mean, at least for a doll, they aren't very hard. Put the word up on the screen. Put it real big up there. Yes. We're just gonna map out a pattern here. And when we cut out the pattern, we can just cut the pants in half. Like with any pattern, we just want to give some seam allowance all around. Instead of using full-on denim, I'm using some denim leggings, which are thinner and more stretchy. And I'm going to stitch these on one piece at a time. In one of my previous videos, I made these pants as a whole unit before putting them on. And this method, I think, is a lot easier. Because it's really hard to get the legs to stretch over the huge cartoon feet, so it's easier to sew them on top of the legs like this. This is a bit of minutia, but a general rule on pants is that the fly opens to the right for men and to the left for women. I doubt Animal Crossing makes a distinction, but it's an interesting tidbit to keep in mind. I want to try a patterned t-shirt on this doll, so we're going to do up a pattern that's pretty similar to the sweet dress. And I don't have any patterns that match the botanical tee exactly, but this will be a nice approximation. I started using my chalk to mark this. That's not going to work out. If you're going to use marker or something permanent to mark your fabric, give yourself enough room to cut on the inside of the line so you won't end up with those marks on your final product. Ironically, I guess, I'm not using t-shirt to make my t-shirt. I'm using more of a handkerchief kind of cotton. But for the look of it, you know, it's sort of the compromise you make sometimes. It's not going to be soft like a t-shirt, but it's going to have a really great pattern, and it's my doll, so. These sleeves, you'll notice, are longer than the princess sleeves, and we aren't going to stuff them because we don't need to. That would be dumb if we did that. So, what about accessories, huh? Here's a real easy one. We'll take the cuff of this knit sock, and we're gonna cut a W shape out of the side. Like that. We'll stitch up one corner at a time. So see, now we've got a little knit cap that our person can wear. I made this a little small since it stretches. Once we sew it onto the head, we can take a little stuffing and fill it out. And instead of stitching the cuff onto the hat, it's easier just to pull out the Fabrifuge and glue it on. Fabrifuge is awesome. I'm going to make a whole doll out of Fabrifuge someday. Another good one, I'd say. That's 2 styles down. Let's try another little spin. We'll give a casual look to our third animal crosser with a sweatshirt. Again, we're back to t-shirt material. This time around, we're going to use the hem of the shirt in the design here. That'll simulate the elastic band of the body and the arms. And just like the sweet dress, we need to cut 4 of these. So you see that? The material is doing some of the work for us. And the Henley style of the shirt. Henley? I don't think that's the right word. Heathered. The heathered style of the shirt simulates the sweatshirt kind of cotton that we'd be, generally using. And what better compliment to a sweatshirt than a pair of sneakers? Some white embroidery floss simulates the shoelaces. Let's take a look at these all finished. From body, to faces, to hair, and now, completely dressed, we accomplished a lot. We experimented, we cried, well, I cried, probably, I don't know. Hard to say, I've been at this for a few weeks. It's statistically possible. End of the day, we've got 3 player characters who are distinct, yet cohesive. And that's the end of this series. I hope you got some insight or inspiration in these videos. Any comments are appreciated, so let me know what helped you or what didn't help. Either way, keep making stuff, and I'll see you next time.